Hey guys, it's Jonah here, back to one of those Asian countries. I've got high hopes for this one. All the rest of them seem to have been brewed in the UK, which is not a bad thing. Don't think I'm anti-UK, because I'm not. But when you're supposed to be covering the whole of Asia, absolutely nuts. Right, we are off to Japan, and we are looking, if it focuses on Hitachino Nest beer, um, which is Japanese. So I'm pretty sure, I'm fingers crossed, that this is an actual Japanese beer. I thought I'd had it before, but apparently I haven't. It's the white ale. It's Kiuchi Brewery, Kuchi, or everyone knows it as Hitachino. Um, and it's their white ale. It's basically like it's a Japanese version of a Belgian beer, which is kind of crazy. But this one is readily available. Um, so we've got water, barley, wheat, hops. This is where it gets interesting. Coriander, nutmeg, orange peel, and orange juice, as well as the yeast, and brewed and canned by the Kiuchi Brewery. I knew it was. The other reason is because the can is a 350 can. None of your 330s or 33 centiliter bad boys. This is a 350. Don't get many of those around. So instantly when I saw this can, and it's a bit bigger. I haven't got any other cans lying around, unfortunately, but you will see the difference. You know when you've been Cuchied. So there it is. It's their white ale. Now, I really like a good Belgium style pale ale. What are we talking? Weiss beer, Wit beer, that type of thing. Oh, so I am looking forward to this. Coriander. Now, I fucking hate coriander when it's in food. I really don't like, for those of you across the pond, cilantro, but the real name in English, and you speak English, is coriander. So, boom, there we go. But this is crushed coriander seeds, which is long used in Belgian beers and that kind of stuff. Okay, so we got the tulip, and we are going for a pour. Let's go for a slightly more aggressive, because this doesn't look like it's going to have much going on in there otherwise. Boom, 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 shake the room. Could I manage to get a finger's head? Not quite, half a finger's head. And this will probably disappear reasonably quickly. Let's try and get rid of some of these bubbles around there. Usually I bang it on the table, but I've kind of haven't got enough room today, so apologies. Right, so there's the white ale. There is the white ale. And there is a funny looking face. It's the only one I've got, dear viewer. I usually apologise, but not today, because my face is excessively funny at the moment after being in hospital. Never good. Don't know if I look any different, but there you go. Fluffy white head. Yeah, quite big bubbles, I have to say. So they're probably going light carbonation, and it's got a nice haze to it. It's not too hazy. It's not like one of these postmodern NEPA pale ales or that kind of stuff. This is a more traditional style. Oh, lovely. Wow, that really is interesting. So nice citrusy, nice zestiness, but then you've got the spiciness too. Yeah, that coriander thing, and it's got nutmeg in it as well. Known for its psychoactive qualities, nutmeg is, if you take enough of it. And we're coming into winter. It's still summertime, but we're not far off autumn. So things like pumpkin spice, which are available already in certain places, which is ridiculous because it's still summertime. Don't let those vendors tell you otherwise, dear viewer. They're lovely, lovely, gorgeous kind of. It's a fresh kind of smell, but it's also a smell of, yeah, like I say, autumn, like those cakes you get with all sorts of spices and wrongness in. Hmm, interesting. What are the hops in here? Let me see. I did have the Hitachino nest kind of going on here. Pearl and Styrian Goldings. We got some lager malt. We've got wheat malt. Sorry, I'm reading it off the Hitachino nest website. Yeah, and some craziness. Yeah, so orange peel, a bit of orange juice. So that's where the citrus is coming from. It's not, doesn't smell hugely zesty. It's more kind of juicy at the moment. Might get a little bit of zest once I've dived in. Now, I didn't say yesterday, so I was giving you a free day because I wasn't, yeah, I wasn't firing on all cylinders, shall we say. I'm still not, to be perfectly honest. But if this has been entertaining, give me a like. It's worth a like, surely. Consider subscribing, all that kind of jazz. Leave me a message down below. It's all good. Tap me up on Untapped. That's always a good way of getting hold of me, but it doesn't appease the YouTube gods. But clicking like does, and leaving a comment does. So why not do that? Cheers and beers, bottoms up. Oh, oh God, that is really nice. Now, not sure if I said or not, but this is 5.5% on the ABV, and the logo is this little owl dude, and he's on all of their kind of things. But I think their white ale, from what I remember, is their most popular one. You can get this all over the world. Really good, actually. Really nice beer. A different take, slightly different take on a Belgium style of beer, but it's really, really nice. And the weird thing is, because it's got those spices, nutmeg, coriander seed, that kind of thing, as well as a bit of the juice, you get that weird kind of herbiness on your exhaled breath. Pardon me, and obviously on the belch as well. That was a silent one. Um, where was I going with this? Yes, so you'll be walking around and people will be like, "Oh, have you been having some nutmeg coffee or something like that?" Um, yeah, there's some weird, lots of weird things that you can do. Um, Especially those things that you keep in your mouth, schnoz and things, that you clip under your lip or your gum or whatever, um, that make your breath kind of smell for a few hours afterwards. It's really interesting. You go, oh, hmm, are you using clove toothpaste or something weird? No, they might be drinking this beer or something similar. Hey, who knows? Go in for some more. Oh. Hmm. It's not a fierce carbonation, but you definitely get a kind of, well, maybe it isn't carbonation. Maybe it's carbonation mixed with the kind of zestiness in there, because obviously there's orange peel and stuff in there. It gives this lovely kind of bitterness up front, and then everything mellows out. Probably due to the wheat, I would say. You do have a little bit of kind of orange cream, which is unusual but nice. And it does have a little bit of juice in too, which is like, I mean, putting juice in beer is that a thing? Well, maybe it is in Japan, um, but it's just the right amount. It's lovely, which makes it slightly different to the kind of Belgium styles. Um, what's that beer that when you order it, it's a Belgium style, but it's not. I remember what it is now. Blue Moon. It's a kind of macro beer now. But it used to be served with a chunk of orange, like on the side of the glass, perhaps, or some people just chuck it in there. And you can squeeze that orange in there, or what I like to do is rub it round the top of the glass, giving the contact point a bit of that kind of juice. But putting it into the beer itself, wow, it takes everything out of the equation. I guess that's why it's in the can as well. If you ordered this in Japan or someone like that and they were pouring it properly, it should get served with a piece of orange. Don't know where that comes from actually, but it definitely works. Getting towards the bottom of the glass, picking up a little bit more of the kind of, um, yeah, I'd say the kind of more sort of juicy sourness, kind of orangey type thing. Um, those herbs, those spices are still there. It just gives a little bit more extra interest. Um, reminding people of mulled wine or mulled cider, perhaps. Why not have mulled beer? Um, and before we put hops in beer, we used to use things like spices and herbs, especially the bitter ones. Um, yeah, as a kind of flavoring for beer. And then as soon as hops were used, it was like, wow, this is meant to be. But it did not start that way. And there are traditional styles like braggots, for example, pardon me, that still don't use hops, or you know, they use other kind of bittering herbs essentially. Braggots use honey as well. I know that, but yeah, reminds me of yeah, good old now sadly lost brother Zippy. Used to make a mean braggot, and I've got his recipe somewhere. I need to write down. I need to copy all these things for when I start doing brews again. I need to do a cider. I've got all the implements for doing a cider. It was going to be a summer cider, but maybe I'll try and get some mulling herbs and doing some mulled cider because yeah, it's always nice, especially when we get into this kind of not early autumn because September's usually quite nice, but when you're getting into October, perhaps into November, when things start to get a bit cold, and yeah, you don't really want to leave the house, especially at night time. Yeah, something like this is absolutely perfect. I tell you what, 5% or 5.5%. Yeah, 5.5%. My God, it's hidden very, very well. You could drink a fair few of these, and at 3.5 instead of 3.30, going to get a little bit more in each glass. Come on. That is very, very nice indeed. I'm liking that. Dear viewer, this has been your loving Uncle Jonna visiting Japan. I've never been there. I'd love to go. This is the white ale from Hitachino Nest White Ale from, see if we can get the brewery name, Kiuchi Brewery over in Japan. This beer is actually, for a change, dear viewer, beer 52, actually from the country that it's supposed to be. Like I say, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and Uncle Jonna will return with more beer reviews, and they're coming real soon.